Hello, my name is Cobalt Hippogriff with talent, and you are actually watching a thing that I decided to attempt and hope it actually continues, maybe. Welcome to the Thrifty Hippogriff podcast, the podcast with talent. With me today on the very first episode is Dexterity Redheart. Say hello to everyone.
Hello.
Now, Dex, what do you do?
I am a gaming live streamer who is attempting to entertain people and, keep them away from dark things in their mind.
That is nice. As you are a gaming channel, I would like to, for this podcast, to those in the audience, this podcast will be very gaming centric. The first question is Dexterity. Is there any stuff that has been announced for this year's release that you're interested in?
Uh, Not really. Some of the more recent zombie games that I've been looking at, like Days Gone and the new Overkill's Walking Dead, are something that interests me. But a lot of the good games so far have already been released, like Far Cry 5 and God of War. Um, I was hoping the Call of Duty would be on my list, but after seeing what they've done with the trailer and how it actually all laid out, I kind of gave up on it. It definitely did interest me, and but another real big thing I'm really happy about is that the Spyro trilogy comes out this fall. So
Mm-hmm. And I'm excited for that as I grew up playing PS2 versions of the games, the ones that came out in PS2.
yeah,
I remember I think I played two, but I never actually went around to play the first one. I played Year of the Dragon, I think.
yeah, Year of the Dragon. It was uh, it was just Spyro. It was then Spyro, Year of the Dragon. No, yeah, Spyro, Year of the Dragon, and Spyro's Crypto's Rage, I believe.
Yes. And I think I had the one that was basically you had to collect the eggs and the main antagonist was trying to steal all the eggs.
That was the first one.
That was the first one?
Yes, the first one was God, I forget the actual enemy's name. It's been so long. Um, but yeah, he was trying to stop dragons from existing,
Oh
and
no,
the only
no, it was not that one. It was the one that introduced the female hunter and she was like a spy for this queen.
yeah, then that was the second one. Yeah,
Yes.
because I'm gonna say that each one of the games thus far, at least I don't remember about the third one, but the second one and the first one had to deal with the dragon eggs.
There, there
And
there was dragon eggs you had to collect still in two.
mhm,
It was not the main focus, but
yeah,
you still like picked up found the eggs.
yeah, like the main focus of number one was to free dragons from stone and
Mm-hmm.
save dragon eggs, and then of course stop the evil mastermind for
Mm-hmm.
doing it.
All I know in two, I did not like doing the skateboard missions.
Eh, they did get kind of annoying, but I ended up finding like easier ways to complete them.
Mm-hmm.
It's I want to say it's sort of similar to how skate ran when it came to
Oh,
skateboarding.
okay. I was introduced to the Skate series, in Skate 2, and I'm like, oh, you have to use the thumbstick to actually do your tricks. Not you don't get to do that button combination. No, you're actually. Oh, realism! Why
Yeah.
force realism on a controller?
Well, it's mostly because they wanted to do something different compared to the Tony Hawk series.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Tony Hawk series had the button like combinations in order to get things, but it made it kind of feel different. And to be honest, Skate was a lot more goofy, whereas Tony Hawk was a lot more like serious.
Yeah. Um, that and like Rob Dyrdek had some backing with this Skate series.
Yeah, Rob Dyrdek, who,
Yes.
if I recall now, has his own brand of a lot of things, including like snack chips.
I remember when he just owned DC.
Mm-hmm. He's he he's a big thing now when it comes to like selling skateboarding supplies and all that. He's the Dream Factory, after all, back in California, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Which, is that an actual skate park he runs?
I think so, an actual indoor one. I don't know if it's just private or if it's something that he, you know, has people go through every day and makes money off of it. But I wouldn't know. It's his property. I don't know.
I'm guessing it's possibly like for the a track for semi-pros
Probably.
that like
Would make sense.
yeah. Um. Also, speaking of the whole Tony Hawk series, I remember playing a lot of 4.
I didn't really have too much like contact with the Tony Hawk series, most because I've never been a big button combination guy, which is why I don't like playing fighting games normally. Because
Oh, I
combinations.
I was introduced to a family that was heavily into fighting games. I remember sitting there with my cousins at my grandma's house, playing nothing, taking turns playing Tekken and Soul Calibur.
Soul Calibur was definitely a good fighting series. That's one of the ones I actually liked. But
Um,
the big combination heavy ones, like Tekken and what else? It was one of the older fighting games that I just can't really get into. Got remastered on Xbox One when it first came out.
Street Fighter.
Well, Street Fighter, yeah, Street Fighter is one of them, but I'm trying to remember it.
Take your time.
God, it's on the tip of my tongue. It's one of the like OG fighting games. Like, it was out during, I want to say it's one of the bigger arcade machines back then.
There was, I think it was King of Fighters.
King of Fighters. There was the original Mortal Kombat games, and then it was this one that I'm thinking of. It had like a playable wolf character, like a werewolf character.
Primal Rage.
Primal Rage, yes, Primal Rage. Like
No, it's not Primal. Killer Instinct.
Killer Instinct, yeah.
Primal Rage was you got to turn into different wear things and beat. It was a beat 'em up.
Yeah.
Wait, that was Altered Beast. That was Altered Beast.
These are old games. It's hard to remember sometimes with how many years have passed since these games have been released. But yeah, Killer Instinct. I can't. I'm just not really good with button combinations. Like, I have fast reflexes when it comes to things like shooter games, but I've never been really good with combinations.
I'm good at platformers and sandbox stuff. Like, I wanted to play DayZ when it was like didn't require. It wasn't a standalone. It was you had to buy Arma 2.
Yeah, like when it was a mod and it was not strictly BR and PvP based, where it was actually a survival mod. You're going through this like zombie infested wasteland, and you can come across other players every so often and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like that's one of the things that I just don't really care for nowadays is VR games. I've never been a big fan of them. Like when King of the Kill H1Z1 and DayZ's Battle Royale games like took off before like PUBG and all that, I just didn't pay attention. It wasn't one of the big things on YouTube and Twitch and all that. But then comes PUBG, Fortnite, and God. Well, those two are the main two, but those are now like populating the internet, and there's a whole war against both games going against each other. And it's weird.
I remember playing Marvel vs. Capcom if we're still on the talk of arcade machines. I remember playing I think Mortal Kombat 3 on the arcade at the bowling alley. I remember playing King of Fighters at our arcade in the mall when it was still there. I even remember that, like, I was basically, well, at least to myself, the king of skee-ball at that arcade. Like, that's most of my money was just to do the skee-ball, just to get the tickets.
Yeah.
Like, I would sink $5 and only $5. Like, I limited myself $5 at the skee-ball machine. I'm like, okay, what can I manage? How many tickets can I milk out of $5?
Like, those were the good old days where you spend most of your time out of your house and penny arcade enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
Like it was either that or spending time at home playing the SNES with buddies and stuff like that.
The one thing I remember, I do love is going down to Manitou and actually going to the actual penny arcade there.
It's still there.
I know, like, it's been a while since I've been there. Like, I know that's not going anywhere.
Like, the last date I've ever had, we went to the penny arcade to play games because me and her would be gamers. I set a record on a high score on the Donkey Kong machine there. I was like, yeah, I still have some of the like old school skill for that type of game.
There was a machine last time I was there that I didn't get to play, but it basically was a parallax vision that had you were in first person, and there were like 3 centipede things that would go past you, and you had to shoot them. And I don't know what game that was.
I don't recall it. Like, it sounds like a OG VR centipede game. Also, hello everybody. I can see people talking in comments.
Yes.
But yeah, all I remember was from OG arcade stuff when graphics started getting a little bit better. You had games like House of the Dead and Tie Splitters, the games that had gun controllers.
Oh,
those were a lot of fun.
I remember playing. I love playing House of the Dead. I don't remember if I was even good at all ever, but that's not the point. I had fun. Also, the person in the chat is my boyfriend, and he can vouch I suck at DDR. I suck. Yes, I suck at the dance arcade games.
I'm a big guy, and I can't keep up with that stuff. I might be able to be like my boyfriend, and I can do decent at Osu, but I wouldn't be able to do it with my actual feet.
I have a tablet that I'm fearing playing Ozu on because of all the tapping required.
Tap, 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 tap. Like, if you ever get into a call with me and my boyfriend, every so often you'll just hear my boyfriend's like mouse going off in the background because he'd be playing Osu.
Oh.
You hear tap, 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 tap. Yeah, I find it goofy, but he always thinks that he's annoying us, and I have to say I have to say it's okay. You're not annoying anybody. And if anybody would get annoyed by him, all they have to do is mute him, or at least turn his volume down so they can at least still hear his voice.
Yeah.
Which that's not a real big problem with Discord because how Discord is.
Yeah.
Discord's definitely a better way to talk to people than like the confusing nature of TeamSpeak or the really dumbed down and laggy, crappy version of Skype that is now.
I remember Ventrilo.
Nope. The only things I've used are TeamSpeak, Discord, and Skype. I don't remember Ventrilo at all.
I remember Ventrilo. And there are stories I have for Ventrilo. No, it was a TeamSpeak, but it was like when it was TeamSpeak 2.
Yeah.
I think they're on TeamSpeak 3 now.
I haven't updated. I wouldn't know.
But I have had stories where I had TeamSpeak just for the sake of I had friends on Steam that were from the UK. So
Yeah.
and they preferred being in like gaming servers they hang out with. So I just joined TeamSpeak and just hung out in the channels there.
This was also the days before Steam had their own voice chat implemented into their system. Because they do that now. All you have to do is get a group together and, make a call, sort of how Discord is now.
Mm-hmm. Also, I like that the Discord basically makes Vent and TeamSpeak like literally obsolete because one, anyone can make a server. It's not, oh, you have to buy for a host.
Yeah. That's one of the best things. Like, back in like the old days of Skype, you used to have to actually like pay to do video chats and stuff like that.
In my conception in the fandom, I had to do that, where we literally had voice and voice only, but luckily, like it was like we only had to sit there for like 5 months, and then they kicked in the whole, you can now do conference calls for free!
Yeah, that's also when Skype realized, well, we're not making much money off this because most people just use voice anyways. Let's go ahead and give that to them to free. And then they got bought out by Microsoft, and Microsoft added ads. And it just became laggy and shitty, and it would crash computers like crazy, and games as well.
Oh.
That's another good thing about Discord is even with the like overlay for Discord active while playing the game, where it shows like the people you're talking to on the top right.
I remember. For example, when you were in the group call, when I was playing WoW, I could see you guys overlaid, but it was the whole transparency that didn't bother anyone, but you knew it was there.
You knew it was there, and if you wanted to, like, say you didn't know who was talking because somebody had a similar voice to another, you just look up and you see their icon like lit up.
Those who talk, it actually will untransparent on the overlay.
Yeah, that's what I mean by lit up.
Yeah.
See, gaming has come into a big revolution, but the problem is a lot of companies are just following trends nowadays, which is why I sort of don't enjoy the look of the new Black Ops, because it looks like a hero select type game. And it is. You have to select a specialist, and if somebody takes that specialist, you can't play as that specialist.
Oh,
it's like,
are they pushing it to Siege?
They basically, it feels like they're basically doing it like Siege. It is now 5v5 instead of 6v6. It's, let's see. The weapons now have recoil patterns, which, every weapon in Call of Duty since Modern Warfare 2 has had a recoil pattern that, you have to get used to. But the problem here is that this one is feeling more towards Siege and Overwatch-esque, and the hero limit thing really bugs the crap out of me because, you know, back in Black Ops 3 when it first released, I was fine with me being battery and there being 2 other batteries on my team or 5 other batteries on the enemy team. See, I didn't mind that. It was chaotic fun. That's what Call of Duty has always been about.
Yeah.
This doesn't seem like chaotic fun. This seems like, oh, we're gonna more refine it to be sort of like Overwatch, which, you know, I hate Overwatch. Siege, I don't have many people to play with on Siege because I have it on Xbox, but that's something I dislike, is having a hero limit. Like, this also dumbs down the customization for your characters because, yeah, they can add a bunch of stuff through, like, the supply drops that you can customize these characters, but what if I want to use this character and I have a cool-looking version of this character and somebody chooses that character?
Yeah.
Like, I see it being okay with Overwatch because there's a shit ton of characters. There's only 8 characters in this game.
The thing for... I just got back into playing League of Legends, and I've made myself well aware that there's some times where I'm going to be forced to play another champion that I don't want to because some other person grabbed Misfortune before me.
You see, that's understandable, though, because you also have to, depending on if you're playing ranked play or not, you'll be able to see who they choose and who you should be able to counter. It's that's the only real decent thing about Overwatch, is that while you're playing the game, you can switch the hero. So if you need to counter this person who's dominating the team, switch to their ultimate counter, and there you go. But the problem I've been seeing with Black Ops 4 is it just doesn't feel like Call of Duty anymore. It's like a lot of people hated on World War II at first, but World War II is the most OG-esque COD game in a while, and it's a decent game. The only thing that really struck my fancy, and I'm not a big fan of VR, like I said, is Black Ops 4 is getting a VR mode called Blackout, where you get to play as all the characters from the Black Ops series, including Zombies characters. And that to me is a little bit interesting because I want to see where they go with that. I kind of want to play it myself to see what it's like. But if it goes only with Black Ops 4, I'm probably not going to touch it because I'm not going to buy Black Ops 4.
The reason how COD has gone with me was I liked Black Ops 2 because it pushed that envelope into the future. But I stopped because I didn't like the fact that they were just keep on pushing more and more into the future to the point that it stopped feeling like COD to me.
Mm-hmm.
That basically Blops 2 had during the story, you went back and played during the Cold War.
Yeah.
And it went back to his son, back to him, back to his son.
And then even one mission you got to play as the legendary Sergeant Woods, and that was an experience.
Yeah. Also, didn't you play Romanoff at some point?
I think you played as Romanov once.
Yes, because it was
not Romanov, Reznov.
Reznov. You played Reznov during the whole explaining how he broke. How he really.
It was explaining the Nova 6 thing, where they found it and that the Russians were making it. They found it in a destroyed, crashed, marooned ship in the middle of the Antarctic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be that was a decent thing. Like, don't get me wrong, like I loved that the futuristic Call of Duty games had their own throws to them in it that felt more chaotic, more, skillful moving and stuff like that. Though Advanced Warfare and Infinite Warfare, the only problems that I really found out with them, besides that exo jumping was highly annoying in Advanced Warfare. But the problem I'm seeing more with Advanced Warfare was what was it? It was the stat-changing variants,
Uh,
and it's what really bugged the crap out of me. And that's why I really didn't get into Infinite Warfare, which is why I bought Infinite Warfare to get Modern Warfare Remastered, and had a lot of fun with it.
yeah. Oh, I remember. I had wonderful fun playing Modern Warfare 2.
Mega Meats. Yeah. Sorry. What were you saying?
I loved playing Modern Warfare 2 when it was freshly there.
Yeah. Like Modern Warfare 2 was around the time I got like Xbox Live in the first place, because I used to play on Xbox all the time, and Modern Warfare 2 was definitely one of my favorites. But I still spent a lot more time on Black Ops 2 than anything, and Black Ops 2 was really the first game I invested in camo challenges, which is funny because the only camo challenges I got completed were for the specialty weapons, the riot shield, the knife, the crossbow, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And God, I remember how annoying that was, especially trying to complete the riot shield. I literally had to have my buddies with me while I was working on the riot shield, because they needed to distract people, and I needed to walk up behind that person and smack them with the riot shield and get the kills with it. But
I think the highest I got was with the knife, because when Black Ops 2 just came out, not a lot of people were there.
mm-hmm.
So I was able to just sneak up behind people and just stab, get stealth kills. Yeah, I would basically put my loadout to just nothing but the knife, and just go around just stabbing people, because people were more concerned of trying to learn the map than watching themselves.
Yeah. I completed the knife through just running through gun game, and my most memorable moment in Call of Duty was during one of those like last few matches I needed for the knife.
Mm-hmm.
And these last two matches were on the same map. The first time I was just running around with my knife getting kills, and I'd completed like the last of the bloodthirsties with my knife at that time, because I was using the tack knife because that's the first weapon you get. And as the round ended, which I had like 30 kills, and I didn't really win the game, because 30 kills with the knife doesn't mean anything in gun game. But all of a sudden I hear this guy go, "Man, this guy that was running around knifing sucks." Like, really now? And I had myself muted, so I said, "Okay." We go back to the same map, and I actually start playing. I ended up being the top player. Turned my mic on and said, "Who sucks now?" With a big smile on my face. And then I muted myself again, and I heard nothing. Like, you could tell this guy was like pissed. He just said nothing. Like, I'm sitting there basically trolling, having a good time, trying to get my knife completed so I can get the diamond on knives, and this guy expects me to be like the shittiest player in the world who's just running around with a knife because that's all I can do. Which, by the way, it takes more skill to play with a knife, though it's a one-hit kill thing, than it does with a gun that can shoot from a range.
Yeah.
Which, but that's something I really like about World War II, is that you can literally build a class all around knifing, like using the shovel, using any of the DLC weapons that are knives, and it's a shit ton of fun.
Cool. I actually plan on getting World War II, just for the sake of it's a COD trying to get back to it, even if it's just temporarily for one game.
Mm-hmm. Like, my hope right now for that is that until we see like Sledgehammer's next COD, or Infinite Warfare, or Infinity Ward's like new COD that hopefully will be better than Black Ops 4, that's not hero system bullshit.
Also, I found out it's gonna be on Battle.net.
Yeah, but I'm hoping that Sledgehammer like works with the game for the next few years while working on their other games as well, like bringing new events, bringing new updates, new weapons. I don't even mind how difficult it is to get these weapons as long as I can get them
Hmm.
within a reasonable amount of time and not have to spend a shit ton of money like in Black Ops 3 in order to get weapons.
My question is, have they added the M1 Garand in World War?
It was one of the standard weapons. The M1 Grand has been in there since the very beginning.
Okay.
Um, the weapons that they added, the first weapons they added were a LMG called the GPMG, the Gewehr 43, and the Sten.
They added the Sten as a DLC weapon.
Mm-hmm. And it's still one of the most devastating SMGs in that game. I'm telling you. Like, if it's not me finding people with the PPSH or the MP40, it's the Sten.
Well, the Sten was devastating in real life during that time.
Mm-hmm.
It was a side. It was a side. It was a very large side magazine.
Mm-hmm. And it delivered a good amount of damage. It fired pretty damn fast. But my favorite weapon that they just released in this past update was the Arasaka. The Arasaka is back, and oh my god, it's a blast to use.
What game had the Mosin Nagant?
World at War,
It
and
was.
we're hoping that it comes to World War II at some point because we need more snipers than just the weapons that came with the game and the Arasaka. But I would love to see the Mosin.
What were the snipers that are just came with the game?
The M1903 Springfield, the Kar 98K, the Carabin, which is a semi-automatic sniper. It's a two-shot unless you hit him in the head. And the Lee Enfield.
Seems legit. Seems the run of the mill any game that is during that would put.
Mm-hmm. Like the snipers that everybody wants in the game, other than the Arasaka, because everyone's was praying for a new sniper in the beginning, because the Arasaka is now in game. Mosin Nagant and the PTRS sniper, that thing, and the fucking tank sniper, everybody wants it, and the data miners on PC found it in the files, so I'm super happy about that.
Uh, I recently got Far Cry 4, and there's a gun in Far Cry 3 that I love, but I'm okay with it not being in 4 because, well, you're in motherfucking Tibet. And that was the Z93.
Was that the sniper?
It was one of the snipers.
I think.
That
Have you gotten through half of the game yet?
of 3 or 4.
4.
No. I think yes when I was renting it on console.
Because more weapons get unlocked to you. Like, they don't show up immediately from the start of the game, but you have to go through like half of the game in order to unlock it. I think that's one of the snipers that is in like the very last segment of weapons.
Okay. Because the fun fact about the Z93 is the specialist version you get is actually the true version of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Z93 you get basic without the thing is a basic sniper rifle. The Z93 is not a sniper rifle. It's an anti-material rifle, and the specialist version you get is the anti-material rifle, which kind of makes part of me just cries a little bit inside. I'm like, why didn't you just give us the real Z93 in the first place?
Mm-hmm. Oh, God. Speaking of Far Cry, Far Cry 5, I ended up pre-ordering it when it was coming out, and it is a damn fun time. I'm telling you.
When I eventually buy an Xbox One, I'm gonna buy 5.
So you're not gonna get it on your PS4?
Oh, there's a story behind my PS4. I technically have PS4 games which basically tell I had a PS4 in the first place. But an electrical storm took my PS4.
Oh, oh no! So a power outage that short circuited the.
No, lightning struck, took out my old TV, the PS4, one of my sister previously 360s, and her TV. We
Damn.
we both got new TVs. My dad could replace um, my 360 also.
Yeah.
No, my dad replaced my 360 for a different reason, and that was the tray went bad, and I believe just all of the elites are starting to just not be worth getting pre-owned anymore. You just have to go get the slims.
Yeah. The that's. Pardon me. The 360 had a really big problems with bugs. Like, you get the red ring of death. You got sometimes the trays just did not want to work.
Oh, the trays were getting dirty because if you weren't non-stop opening the tray to change games, the tray would just gather dust, and then the
Yeah.
gears would get dusty, and it just would lock on itself.
Like, yeah, there's that. So what else was there? There was a problem with the older laser readers for the discs. Like, if you were playing,
my reader went out too, so I'm starting to buy digital copies of games now.
that wouldn't work. Sometimes that wouldn't work; it would just stop working. But other times, like, if you were playing a game for like a lot of time, the laser inside would literally like scratch the disc.
Mm-hmm.
Which I had that happen to my Wii with when my copy of Smash Bros. Brawl, and that really made me upset because I really loved the Smash Bros. Series.
I went through one copy of Skyrim on that.
Mm-hmm.
But my DLC disc actually worked. So I ended up getting a pre-owned copy of just the basic Skyrim game at GameStop, and then I just used the still working DLC disc from my previous copy.
So let's move away from consoles for a bit, like
Okay.
with PC, because something I love about Skyrim and stuff like that on PC is that it has a huge modding community. And modding a game like Skyrim or Fallout 4 or something like that, it really extends the experience of the game. I know people who have like 5,000 hours in those games alone, and that's mainly because they're not just playing the standard game. They're playing mods upon mods upon mods, enjoying the crap out of it.
I have the Moon Path to Elsewhere mod, I think, still part on my Steam for my thing. And I still have not finished that quest line. That modded quest line. But the thing that introduced that the Khajiits we see are just a sub one of 3 species of Khajiit.
Mm-hmm. Like, if you look into a lot of the lore for any of the places in Tamriel, there were a lot more other species similar to Khajiits and Argonians way back when. But one of the specific races, which was a fox-like race that was living in the Black Marsh along with the Argonians wiped them out with a disease, or so we believe.
I think I think they added a mod for that race.
Yeah, that's there. But what I'm saying is that what is believed is that race is extinct, like in the actual lore. But there are traces and rumors that there are some still like around. They're just hiding out.
Also, the thing I liked that was just explained in the games was the Falmer are not snow elves, that there are still uncorrupted snow elves.
Like
the protector of the bow. in Dawn Guard, which I actually finished Dawn Guard before. I've finished the Dawn Guard quest DLC. I
Mhm.
have not ever killed Alduin. Ever.
I've done it like once just to experience it. I have never done it again thus far, mostly because there's so much to explore in Skyrim as is normally without mods. Like
Yeah.
so many side quests, so many like story quests for other things like the Thieves Guild, the Dark Brotherhood.
Hmm.
Ugh. But yeah, that's. I'll tell you one thing. I have one of the DLCs I've spent most of the time in. It wasn't even any of the story DLCs. It was Hearthfire.
I love dealing with Heartfire too.
Like being able to have a custom house, being able to have everything you want in that house,
Hmm.
like an enchanting table, an alchemy lab. You could have all the shrines centered downstairs.
Hmm.
It's it's just mind blowing, and we've been waiting for something like that. Like at least it wasn't as bad as Todd Howard and the fucking horse armor mod for Oblivion.
No, we do not talk about the horse armor.
It's a big joke. Even Todd Howard makes jokes about it when he goes up on stage. That's that's how bad it was.
Yeah.
Like the only game I give praise to for adding an armor for your horse is The Witcher, and that's because it's free DLC. You don't have to pay like $5 for horse armor. Oh god.
Yeah.
Uh, I've said this many times before in our chats, but I'm still like, as much as I'm, keeping my eye on Bethesda with Rage 2 because Rage 1 wasn't really that good. I want to hear something at E3 about Elder Scrolls 6 because we've been fucking waiting for it for
Hmm.
fucking what 7 years now,
Hmm.
and that's usually the amount of time they have to announce a new Elder Scrolls game
Hmm.
or announce a new Fallout title, which Fallout 3 came out before Skyrim. I forget how many years before Fallout 4 was actually announced, and Fallout 4 was in like development for like, oh god, 5 years after
I
it was announced.
I think I think I think the uh Far Cry 4 was in development, and basically they did New Vegas as a what Fallout 4 have this.
Mm-hmm.
It was, yeah, like New Vegas was just a tie off, I
It was.
felt.
It seemed like it should have been an expansion for 3,
Mhm.
to be fairly honest, but because it had the similar graphics, similar weapons, just different location, different like character,
Yeah.
and
Because
different story. But
because 4 basically had the graphics of Skyrim yeah, that they were still using think Bethesda Engine 3 with New Vegas, and it was they created 4 for Skyrim, and then they just said we have 4 already. Let's just make Far Cry 4, Fallout 4, and yeah, and and Bethesda Engine 4.
yeah,
Also,
it's
I actually have a vendetta with Monolith.
Monolith.
Monolith created 1, 2, and Tactics.
Mm.
And it's not what they did for Far Cry. Far Cry. What I do not like about Monolith was their other properties they came out with that weren't just that Monolith created the Fear series. I think 2 Worlds, and I think Sacred.
The only game I've actually played from Monolith would be the Fear series.
Yeah.
Because the Fear series was good. Like 3 was a little, lackluster. It was, not really as scary as 1 and 2. 1 really had that big scare factor to it. But
the thing I have a vendetta about Monolith was about Fear 1. And that was, oh, we don't have an easy mode. It's just labeled easy mode. You have, oh my god, hard. You're in hell. Hell looks like pussy.
It's sounds a lot like Doom.
Basically.
But yeah, I get where you're coming from. Difficulty ranges are weird in some games.
And that was, or the, hey, you have to jump onto this crate. How do I jump onto this crate? Oh, you just need to. And I'm like, why? Because if you want to progress through the mission, you have to. But I can't jump that high, that far. Oh, yes, apparently you can, because people have played this and gotten further. And I'm like, really? Which basically came down to, 1, it was basically just a scary parkour game. 2, actually started what Fear actually was. And then 3 was, like you said, it dumbed it down because I believe they didn't even want really. I felt like they really didn't want to do 3.
Yeah. They fans wanted an ending, and that's what they got. But speaking of like open world-esque games with a bit of horror added to them, Stalker, the Stalker series.
Oh.
And I'm super happy because Stalker 2 is officially back in progress, which I'm super happy about because even though I haven't played through, like completely played through Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl, which is the only one I own, it's a super fun game. It's super, it's not as like populated as the Fallout series, but the Stalker games has that eerie, ominous, like something really bad happened to this area feel, which is something that really helps with the game. Like a game that's in early access right now is a survival cooperative game called Desolate, and it takes a lot of inspiration from Stalker, and it looks to be a really good game. I've seen Wade, Lord Minion 777, and a few of his friends play, and it looks to be a blast. But that's something that, like, some developers are really good at is the atmosphere. If you don't get atmosphere right, it just doesn't really feel like a good game. Like, for instance, if you're in a war zone, you want to, hear gunfire in the distance. You want to see a building off in the middle of nowhere get, like, part of it exploded. That's also a reason I kind of like the Battlefield series. Well, most of the Battlefield series when it came to destruction was things got destroyed.
Yes.
Things originally blew the fuck up, and it literally felt like you were in an actual war zone in a multiplayer setting.
Like if you I think I don't know what game variant it was. It was basically the whole go capture these territories. I remember on one map that one of the territories is in a building, and if you have a tank, you can literally just open up the face of that building.
Are you talking about like the 3 or 4 for the Battlefield series, or are you
3.
talking about like
3.
yeah? That's one of the things that I really didn't like, because that game, both 3 and 4 had Levolution, which was a different type of destruction. Like those buildings didn't really do much in terms of destruction. You can like take some chunks out of them, but it wouldn't get completely destroyed, like in Bad Company 1 and 2, or for instance, the buildings that you come across in Battlefield 1, you can destroy the crap out of them to the point where they're just rubble on the ground.
Yeah, because I know there's a map in Battlefield 1 that just everyone yells at, and like, don't shoot the building, it just ruins the match for everyone.
Yeah, that's the I forget what that map is, but it has that big building where B flag would be on top of, but when it gets the building completely destroyed, like it lags the crap out of the server, and then it ends up being this huge pile of rubble in the middle of the map with B being at like a very end of it.
Mm-hmm.
But there were still some things like the gunplay in Battlefield 3 and 4 were fun, which is why people still go back to 4 and play it. I'm actually kind of really excited to see what they do with Battlefield 5, considering we've already heard that's going to be in a World War II setting.
Ooh.
And I can tell you that the DICE, even though they're led by EA, who is a fucking shitty ass company in the first place.
Yeah.
Let's not fucking go into that detail. But DICE does really well with the engines and the game itself. Like, even though Battlefield 1 really isn't really my taste, because it's too wide open maps where snipers rain hell on people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, granted, you have that in Battlefield 4, but you could get a lot more cover in Battlefield 4. You're not always out in the open. In Battlefield 1, you're constantly out in the open. You're going to get sniped from this way, that way. Shit, man. You're fucked. But atmosphere is really something that really brings something to a game. Destruction being part of the atmosphere. One of the games that I first ever played when it came to shooters was Halo, like I had stated before earlier. I don't think I was during this the podcast here, but I think it was like a few days ago we were in a call, and I said my first FPS game was Halo, and what Bungie did with the atmosphere when you first encounter the flood, that actually made it feel pretty damn horrifying, especially considering these creatures are basically like they burrow into you and transform you into this living mass of fungus-like creatures.
Oh, which leads into a thing into movies. Basically, the stuff the reason there are certain niche of horror movies that I like, and that is the horror movies that don't try to scare you or scare you through death
Jump
or
scares.
drum scares or death. I like horror that violates you internally.
Like the two of the movies that I've heard about so far that actually crap out of people that are like this year-esque or like late last year, Quiet Ones, I hear a shit ton about. That movie apparently puts like atmosphere mixed with good sound quality. Yeah, that's gonna get you real jumpy.
Oh, I was implying body horror, where
horror,
where basically it takes imagery that shows this person cannot come back from this. Things like Alien.
Yeah,
like,
Alien.
Pandorum. We were talking on Telegram about Pandorum in one of the chats.
Well, in terms of that movie, actually, towards more
Space orcs, basically de-evolved space orcs.
I was actually going to name off another movie that had really decent atmosphere, and I'm like, but there's not really much body horror in that. The original Saws, to be honest, the ones that weren't like all weird-esque traps, the ones that actually had somewhat realism to it.
So the first two.
The first two, like I can't like when I first watched the first one, and he had to cut off his own leg. That really, really like got under my skin. It was whoa.
My question about two was, or the first two or the first one, was how could he stay still pretending to be a dead body between them?
Acting, dude. Acting is. He might have rendered himself unconscious. I don't know how. Might have been like anesthetic or something that made him render unconscious to the point where.
But how would he know how long he would need to be under? Like, did he know how long it would have taken them to actually turn on each other?
I don't know. Honestly, it's something that you have to be in the mind of the director to really see what they were trying to do with that.
I began my college career as trying to be a director, so I have the introduction mindset of a director. But I ended up going into animation, so basically I know the introduction to become a director for animation.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of I guess what I end up doing right now for that. Oh, I review animation. Instead of directing for animation or creating a piece of animation myself, I am critiquing other people's creation of animation.
I mean, it's not that bad of a path, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So many...
Last semester I took Introduction to Philosophy.
I don't even want to get into that.
Oh.
Please no.
I'm happy that I got a B in it. That's all I care. I really don't plan on taking any of the rest of it at all in my career because it was this fills a credit for one of the sections you're required in your associates.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it counts as a. It doesn't. I think it didn't count as a. I think it counted as one of my electives because it doesn't fall under a behavioral science.
Yeah.
I was going to take a behavioral science, but then I dropped it because I just wanted to. I believed I wouldn't have been able to balance 5 classes.
Yeah.
I was going to take sociology. Sociology.
Jeez.
Yeah. I took 2D design, art history, which I'm going to have to retake, philosophy, and American history from that basically was, oh, the Civil War happened, let's now find out what happened after that. Yeah, it was basically Reformation somewhere into the Cold War. But yeah.
Yeah.
But back to the actual main topic of the podcast.
Well, we were talking about movies as well. So I was pointing out Atmosphere. One of the really good movies that had decent atmosphere for horror genre, and believe me, as somebody who has played through this series and video games as well, the Silent Hill movie was actually really good when it came down to atmosphere.
The original attempt or Revelations?
The original.
Oh, just the de-skinning scene and just kind of was. Ooh.
Yeah, it was really, really grotesque. It was good though. I enjoyed it. Like it's like with the Silent Hills through the game series, it's really good. They had those really good twists. One of the ones that I really enjoyed playing through was like one of the ones that were new around Xbox 360 time. That was Silent Hill Downpour.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. I enjoyed it. Let's see what else when it comes to Silent Hills. I'm really sad, of course. Like most of the gamers who were really hyped for it, I was really sad when Silent Hills was canceled in production.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Also,
but that
also just a pointer. Wrap. It's starting to get around the time to wrap up.
oh, well, let me get this one last thing. It, it was sad that Silent Hills was put out, but we in the end Kojima left Konami and made his own thing, and now we're eagerly awaiting what Death Stranding is going to be like
Mm-hmm.
because it looks really good. But I guess it's time to wrap up.
Yeah. So
We'll continue talking about stuff another day, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I've been Cobalt Breeze, your hippogriff with talent, and you have been watching the Thrifty Hippogriff podcast, the podcast with talents. And this has also been my guest.
Hi. Bye. You can find me on Twitch. Dexterity Redheart on Twitch every Tuesday through Friday. Tuesdays are random. Maybe I won't stream on Tuesdays. It depends on how I'm feeling, really.